2025 to upload and Camtasia 2023 to record. So we'll see. Okay. All right. And it's recording on Zoom, and my camera's on, so my little laptop is at its extreme. Okay. So, all right, so they have similar outputs, but not entirely the same. But one arrive and one open have the same output. So why do I need different states for them? Because they have different behaviors. So what's the behavior for floor one arrive?
It opens for 2 cycles.
It can't do anything but stay with the door open, because the project specifications say that when you arrive on the floor, you have to stay there with the door open for 2 clock cycles. So it can't go anywhere. But that makes it a different state from a state that can go somewhere. And so floor one arrive, it's going to have, no matter what the inputs are, it's going to have, I'm going to write them as XXX instead of DDD, because Vivado uses X's for don't cares. So my input is XXX for floor one arrive, and I'm going to go to floor one open for that. And that's all I have to do for floor one arrive in terms of next state, because that handles all of them. That's all 16 states in one. Okay, now for floor one open, now I have to decide what to do for my different combinations of switches. So if the door is already open and you press the hold button, what's it supposed to do?
Stay open until it's depressed.
Stay open. And the way that I set up my switches is I had my switches have my bit 3 is the hold. And so if that one is 1, then I have don't cares for everything else. It's going to go back to floor 1 open. So this is 1 X X X. We also know what we expect if we don't do anything. If we don't do anything, what should we do?
Go rest.
Go rest. Now, I think that's open to interpretation, so that's the way I interpret it, and it's the way most people have interpreted it, is that your first clock cycle is the arrive cycle, your second clock cycle is the door open cycle, and then you say, I've been open for 2 cycles, and then I'm free to go rest. If you wanted to have yet another door open cycle, you'd have to have another state. So you can do that. It's not a problem. The only problem with having extra states is the setup. It's not the coding. The coding is pretty easy. So now I'm going to say that here, if I have, if I do nothing, 0, 0, 0, 0, no switches, I'm going to go to the rest state. What are we going to do? Yes?
If we have different thought patterns with this, do we just have to explain what it is?
Yeah.
Do we have time to explain it?
Yes.
We have to explain it.
Yeah,
Because it's gonna
so
be different.
basically, usually what happens is the TA asks you to demo your project. And you say, okay, I'm on floor 1. I go to floor 2 and it stays open for 2 clock cycles, and you'd show it, and the TA might, oh, you have an extra clock cycle? Yeah, well, that's the way I interpreted it, or might not, And then the TA might ask you, say, okay, now I want you to set the switches like this and show me what it does. And then you need to be able to explain, if it doesn't do what the TA expects, you need to be able to explain why it's doing what you expect based on your design. And I think that's where people have had problems in the past, because they'll come to me and say, well, I did it just the way we talked about it, but the TA said whatever. It's like, well, did you explain what your thinking was? No. I'm like, well, you need to make sure that because I think that when you write the description like this, you think you've explained everything the way it is in your head, but until someone else starts programming it, there are some things that just aren't quite clear. So at least that's how it's been done in the past, so I can't say for sure. Okay, and then there are other things that weren't explained. What happens if you're on floor 1 and you press the floor 1 button? I think that's open to interpretation. Where there were some people who said, well, you shouldn't do that. But, so that'd be a don't care. But that's not the way I did it with my first design. And on Monday, people said they wanted to do it the way that I had done it in the previous video. So I'll keep it that way. So does anyone know what I said or what our group decided that when we made that first video would happen with the floor one?
Yeah, you keep the doors open.
Yeah.
You weren't just stuck in the elevator.
Yeah, so we said if you were in floor one and you press the floor one button, you would stay on floor one. So we said if you're on floor one, if the floor one button is pressed, it doesn't really matter what anything else is, except for the hold button. And I'm going to put a 0 for the hold button, and then I'll put a don't care for 2, a don't care for 3, and a 1 for floor one. Why do I need to put a 0 for the hold? If I say the floor one button is pressed, I'm going to stay on floor one. And if the hold button's pressed, I'm going to stay on floor one. Why did it matter? Why couldn't I put an X for the hold button?
Does it match with the one above it?
That's right, because then it's not clear. Then there's two possibilities, and Vivedo will say your something is not well defined, because if I had an X for the hold, it's not clear to Vivedo what it should do. It'd say, no, there's two possible pathways. So there has to only be one way to go.
X's don't care.
X's don't care. All right. Now, what if we have floor 2 pressed? Not floor 1, but floor 2.
You go to floor 2 arrive.
We're going to go to floor 2 arrive. So that would be 0. Do we care if we have floor 3?
No.
No, we don't care. Because if we have floor 2, we have to go to floor 2 first, and we're going to have a 0 for floor 1. So that would be floor 2 arrive. So I could have 2, or I could have 2 and 3. What if I have just floor 3? You could say I'm going to go straight to floor 3 arrive, but then you're cheating.
So you have to go to floor 2 first and then 3.
Yeah, so you're really only supposed to go to one floor per clock cycle. So this is where I said if I have floor 3, but not floor 2, I'm going to go to floor 2, and I called it, on Monday I called it transition. You could call it floor 2 in motion, or floor 2. You could even do floor 2 rest if you wanted to. It would work.
But it also shows that you're on floor 2.
Mm-hmm.
1 0 0 0 would get you to transition.
Yes.
Wasn't that 1 your hold button?
Oh,
Yeah, 0,
yes,
1,
it
0,
is.
0.
Sorry. 0 1 0 0.
Okay.
Yeah. If you wanted to not have the floor 2 transition and just use floor 2 rest as your transition, that would work.
Okay.
So if you don't like it, you can do it that way.
Now, in that transition period, do you define, like, okay, well, what if someone during that clock cycle presses 1?
That's the way. That's why I have it set the way it is, because I have it set that if someone during that clock cycle presses 1, next time it looks at it, it says, oh, 1 is set, and I give 1 priority, I'm going back down to 1.
But if it's transition to 3,
But I have, the way I have my transitions set is that they're not really predestined to go to 3. because it allows for someone to change their mind. So if you start on floor 1 and you go to floor 3, it goes to floor 2, and then it looks, and if 3 is still set, it goes on to 3. And if 3 is not set, it looks at what's set.
Because like it's a different clock cycle every time.
Right. It doesn't.
But if like you have 3 on the cube, like if you are headed towards 3 and on 2 someone hits 1 while you're headed towards 3, you're gonna go to 3 first and then back to 1, right?
In a real elevator, yeah, but our elevators have switches. And so if 3 is still set, then you should go to 3, and that's why I originally had 3 going up and 3 going down. But if you unswitch 3, there's no way for the elevator to know that 3 had been set.
Unless you have another state.
Unless you have another state,
Like a
and
mini
that's
state.
and that is adding more complexity than was intended, but you are certainly welcome to do that. That is thinking through all the possibilities and doing that. That was not originally part of the assignment to necessarily keep track of what had been pressed before. It's just to always look at what's active right now. So, but it's certainly fine to do that. Okay, so let's look at the code.
It's overwhelming to plan for that though. I think I will have a lot more states than.
I have done it that way and decided that it's not worth it.
I feel like too much can go wrong too.
And the reason I feel like it's not worth it is because the design is to use the switches for calling the elevator. And so if you want it still to be on, you would leave it still on.
But what if somebody on floor 3 was calling 3?
Then the switch would still be on.
Well, it wouldn't still be on.
There's only switches to call to a floor. It's not like an elevator where each floor has its own buttons. There's all there are switches to go to floor 1, go to floor 2, and go to floor 3. So it's not like from 3 you call 3, or from 2 you call 3, it's from anywhere you call 3.
Right.
So,
But like in the different stages, you might, in order to get the memory part, I added an extra state to say like, okay, so 3 was pressed.
but they turned off 3. If they turned off 3, you're still going to make it go to 3?
Well, if one person, like during the 2 cycles where the door is open, one person could select 1 and one person could select 2 on 2 different clock cycles, and then from 3 we'd end up going to 2 and 1.
Yeah. But if you're on 3 and 2 and 1 are both selected, you should stop at 2 before you stop at 1.
Right. But it might not show on the clock cycles.
Yeah, it would. Every clock cycle, it looks at the switches and says, what floor is called now?
Okay, so the switches stay on whenever.
Yes. It's not like you set it. It's not like you set it and then you turn it off and it's supposed to remember.
Okay.
So, and I had that same issue when I first read the project. I thought you would like press the button and then it'd be called and it has to remember that it's called, and that's not the way it is. It's called when that light is on to say that it's been called, or when that switch is on to say it's been called.
Okay, so it's like a switch instead of a button. It's the same thing.
Yes. So it's like you have your hand up, and if your hand is up, then that means that you are expecting to be called on, and if your hand's down, you're not. Yeah. So it should probably not go to a floor if that switch is not set. unless it's floor 2 on its way up. I sure hope it hasn't lost all my code again. Okay, would y'all like to review the constraints? Well, I guess we will because we have none.
Oh no!
Did we lose all our code again? We lost most of our code. How did that happen again?
Again.
How did that happen again? That can't be, but it is, and there it is. Okay, well that's all right. We're starting from scratch. That's where y'all want to be. Okay, all right. So the only thing, can y'all tell me what I have so far? What are these various things?
We have the 7-segment display. We have the, what's it called? Anode display. Anode.
Yeah, and what's that for?
To display on one of the 4 7-segment displays. And then one LED to say it's open or closed.
I can't believe it's gone again.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it's just not there. Okay. Oh, next LED is not a reg. Is not an output. And I am temporarily, y'all should probably, y'all can do this if you want to. I'm putting current state up here as an output, although that's not the way it's going to be in your final project. That's just for debugging. I am going to keep floor 2 going up and floor 2 going down, because if I'm in floor 2 going up and someone presses 1 and I was on my way to 3, I'm going to be pissed if it goes to 1 before I get to 3. So if I'm going up, I'm going to give 3 priority. So I'm going to keep those.
If we do the transition state, would you only need to worry about floor 3 arrive and floor 1 arrive? Like, can you go anywhere else? Like, those should be the only, you know what I mean? Like, coming out of your transition state, you can only go
Yeah.
to floor 1 arrive or floor 3 arrive. But
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. The only places you can go from the transition state are, no, well, it depends. You could go to floor 2 open, or if nothing happens, you could stay at floor 2 rest, like if somebody turns off all the switches.
Okay.
But that's not likely. And if you want to define it as, no, you were on 1 and you press 3 and you're going to 3.
You're going to 3.
You're going to 3. That's just, like it or not, that's just where you are. Then I think that would be fine.
Okay.
And the chances are that anything would happen that would make that, not be okay. And I also put in an error state. Tell me if y'all want to see. I hear y'all clicking away if you want to see all of these things. Whoa. Will it give me an error if I do this?
Yep. That's what I did for mine. Because our TA wants us to screenshot our phone into the reports.
Mm-hmm.
And there's no way to do it when it
Right. Can someone tell me what this parameter 1, 2, and 3 are?
Those are the 7-segment display.
Yeah. Does anyone know if they're right? I don't know if they are. They might not be. I should mess it up on purpose. I'm actually gonna do that. And that way everybody who just copies this will have it wrong. And if they don't listen to that part right there.
No, that's brutal.
Isn't that?
Fair though, fair.
It is fair. Quite fair.
Do you have it displaying on different, like if you're on floor 2, you have the...
I don't as of yet.
Okay.
I could. That's a good idea though. I think I will.
Have
I think I will.
have 2 of them displayed at the same time. But
I'll show you how.
Oh.
If you'd like to see how, I can't do it right now. It takes a while, but I'll show you.
Is there a way to incorporate it into this?
Mm-hmm.
I looked it up online, and it looked really intense. So
It's kind of intense, but having done it, I know how to do it.
And it doesn't mess up with the, like, you can have different clock cycles going on or whatever.
Because there's nothing special about the clock that it has to be a clock. It's like it doesn't have to, I mean, you can have different clocks. You know, it's like we think the clock is measuring some sort of time, but it's not really. It's just, it's measuring cycles as we define them. So on a particular program that Dr. Vite does, the other digital logic, there'll be like, there's a program that you actually have 3 different clocks. So, all right, tell me when y'all are ready. Is that a yes or a ready?
I have a question.
Yeah.
So when you're in state 3 with the door open,
Mhm.
you only go to your rest state or stay in door 3? Like if you wanted to go to 1 or 2,
Mm-hmm.
how would you have that?
So from any floor.
Oh no, just on my map, I don't have like 4, 3.
Yeah, I didn't. Well, because I didn't do that one. I left that one for y'all to do
Okay.
on your own. So.
That's why I don't remember doing it.
Yeah. And so you actually just fell into the category of the same sort of thing that we were just laughing at the other people about. Right, because I left that one alone because I said it was just like floor 1. So floor 3 acts just like floor 1, except it's, so floor 1, if you press the 1 button, you stay on 1.
Yeah.
And if you press the 3, you head up to 2. If you press 2, you go to 2 for either floor 1 or 3.
Right.
So the only difference between floor 1 and floor 3 is on floor 1, you stay where you are if you press 1, and you go to 2 if you press 3.
Right.
On floor 3, you stay where you are if you press 3, but if you press 1, you go to 2.
Right.
So if I look at floor 1 right here, so I've got floor 1 zoomed in, floor 1 door open. Let's look at all of our outputs here. I have 0, 0, 0. If I do nothing, I go to floor 1 rest.
Right.
Hold, I stay on floor 1, door open. If I'm on floor 3, hold, I'll stay on floor 3, door open. If I have just 1 pressed, I stay on floor 1. what would the that's this one right here. Oh, that's
Ooh.
scary. So let me see if I can do this. Okay, so here's floor 1, door open. Let's see what would change if we change this to floor 3, door open. Okay, so this 1 DDD, that's going to be the same. It'll stay going to floor 3. This, the 0 DD1, that's going to change to be 0 1 DD.
All right, now I got it.
Does anything else change?
0.
The 0 0 0 is going to go to floor 3 rest, not floor 1 rest. I think everything else stays the same, except going to floor 1, you'd go to floor 2 going down instead of to floor 2 going up. So floor 3, door open. So this will be floor 3 rest. This would be 1, don't care, don't care, don't care. This would be 0 1, don't care, don't care. If I had 0 0 1, don't care, that would go to floor 2, arrive. And if I had 0 0 0 1, I would go to floor 2 going down, or floor 2 transition, or floor 2 rest, whatever you want that state to be.
So this is what keeps confusing me. So even though we're going to floor 2 transition, we don't have a 1 for floor 2. We have our 1 on floor 1, like 0 0 0 1.
My 1 for floor 2 goes to floor 2, arrive.
Okay. So when you get a 1, okay. I think.
Because if you're saying you want to go to floor 1, you can't. You have to go to floor 2,
Okay. Yeah. Transition.
because you can't go straight to floor 1.
Okay.
So does this have everything accounted for? Does this account for all 16 states? Let's count them. This 1 DDD counts for 8. 0 1 DD counts for 4. 0 0 0 0 counts for 1. 0 0 0 1 counts for 1. 0 0 1 D counts for 2. So that's 8 plus 4 is 12, plus 2 is 14, 15, 16. I've got them all accounted for. And no overlap. How would floor 3 rest be different from floor 3 door open?
Because it's has the door closed.
Well, our output is different for sure. So floor 3 rest, output is different. But how is the next state going to be different? The directions.
Back to it.
The directions say if the door is already open and you press the hold button, that the door stays open. But it says if the door is already open. So the hold button doesn't do anything if the door's closed. And so,
It's not supposed to be.
so let's see. So if I have don't care 0 0 0, I stay where I am. If I have don't care 1, 0, 0,
Then it releases the person on the inside if they're stuck in there.
then I'll go to floor 3 open, right? It releases the person stuck inside. And if I have don't care 0, 1, don't care, I'll go to floor 2 arrive. And if I have don't care 0, 0, 1, I'll go to floor 2 going down. Do I have all 16 states accounted for? How many states is accounted for by X100? Basically, you take every X and however many X's you have, make that 2 to that power. So I have 1 X, that's 2 to the first, so that's 2. How about X000? 2. How about X01X? 4. How about X001? 2. That doesn't seem like enough states. So that's 2, 4, 8, 10. So I'm missing 8. Let's see. So there's some don't cares that I'm probably not accounting for. If I have... here they are. If I press 3, I don't care if 1 or 2 are pressed. That's my escape hatch. So this should be 8. So that's 8 plus 2 is 10 plus 4 is 14 plus 2 is 16.
Okay.
Does that seem good? Okay, so did that answer your question?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so now if anybody watches all the videos...
Someone asked a question in the chat.
Oh, I didn't know anyone was here.
Yeah.
Oh, hi. What was the... There's a... Oh.
How do you implement the 7-segment display?
How do you implement the 7-segment display? Okay, I will get there. I'm not there yet, but I promise I'll get there. Okay. All right. Everybody ready to move on? All right. So let's start our behavior. So we'll have always at current state and switch and we're going to have case current state.
Does your reset also be initialized?
I do want to have my reset in here, so I want to say if reset so I need to begin now. So now I need to begin. If reset next state becomes equal to I did floor 1 arrive.
And this just, I mean, there's nothing specific about that.
No.
We can just go back and see.
Else. Now I'll have my case statement. Else current state. So now I'm going to have, I need to see what all my different possible states are and what I'm going to do for them. So my possible different states are floor 1 arrive, floor 1 open, floor 1 rest, and then I'll have the same thing for floor 2. And then I'll have the same thing for floor 3. And I'll have an error state. And I'm going to have floor 2 going up. And floor 2 going down. Now, the floor 1 arrive, and floor 2 arrive, and floor 3 arrive, they're the easiest ones. What do we do for them?
It's just equal to open.
Yeah.
Door open.
I said I was just going to do a mini one, but now I seem to be doing more than the mini one. I'm not going to fill everything in.
Are you gonna save this?
I'm going to save it. There. At least some of it is saved. All right. Now, let's see. I'm definitely going to do all of floor 1 and may not do the rest of this stuff. Okay, so for the other floors that are not necessarily a done deal. Now, you might want to say, if you pressed floor 3 and you were on floor 1 and you're on floor 2 going up, your next state is floor 3, period, and you could do that. So you could just say, next state is floor 3 arrive, and that does not give you a chance to change your mind. And this would be next state is floor 1 arrive. So I'm
Between let's say if you're on floor 1 and you go to floor 2, are there 2 cycles? So there's one cycle to get to the floor, and then is there another cycle for the door to open or not?
no.
So
There's
you
not
get
a
to the-
cycle for the door to open when you arrive. This is the way I interpreted it, and it's the way most people have interpreted it over the semesters, is when you arrive, the door opens. You don't arrive with the door closed and then another clock cycle for it to open.
So
When you go to floor 1 arrive, the door's open.
okay.
Okay, so for these other states, we're going to have a case, and where the case is going to be based on the switch. And I need someone to tell me what we said for floor 1 open. Didn't we just do that one today?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so what did we say?
So I have 2 for floor 1 open. It can be 1 XXX or it can be 0 XX1. Like depending on if you hit your hold button or if you hit.
Oh, I got
stay
it.
on
So,
floor 1.
so if I have 1 XXX,
That's like hitting your hold button. You're gonna stay.
then that's going to be next state
Open.
is floor 1 open. We also had 4B 0 0 B 0 XX1. Oh, this needs to be case Z, by the way. Case Z, because of these don't cares. That makes it work better. Okay, what else did we have?
And that was it for holding it open.
Well, I need to account for every possibility of the switches for floor 1 open. not for keeping it on open, just every possible next state I could go to from floor 1 open.
Oh, okay, so then we're going to like one of the arrive or the rest.
That's
or the
right.
transition.
Yeah.
Okay, okay.
So 0, don't care, 1, 0, what was that one?
Arrive, floor 2 arrive. And 0, yeah, that would be floor 2 transition or go up. And then your rest, you need your rest state, right?
Oh, I do.
When you put them down, you don't have to put them over, right?
No.
Okay.
Do I have underscores in my parameters?
Yeah.
In all of my parameters? Yes. This is what gets me, is like little things like this.
Yeah, I missed the ball.
And then I need to have a default. And that's what I'm making my error state. It shouldn't ever get to the default because I feel like I've accounted for everything, but if I haven't accounted for something, I want to know about it. And so that's why I have this
What would it
as my
look
error state.
like on the board or on
S-
the beta?
Okay, so here's where, that's why I did, and so that'll be the next thing that I do is set up the constraints. That's
Okay.
why I made current state of an output,
Mm-hmm.
because I will be able to look at
Okay,
and see
yeah.
what the current state is.
Gotcha.
And so I'll know. Okay, there's, it's
So
good
you only do that
for debugging. It can't hurt anything to have it later, but can someone check and see what the chat question is while I go and get my constraints?
How would you go about implementing the segment display
Oh.
in code?
I'm getting there. Is that
It's the same thing.
same question? Okay.
Sneaky is crazy.
Okay, and then I need to have the correct clock signal, which I'll get from my previous project.
Do we have to use the D button?
No, you don't.
Okay.
Sorry you hate it.
We're haters, I'm sorry.
No, I was saying the D button is the one on the board.
Oh, no, you don't. Yeah, that's the one, actually, the assignment says to use the D button on the board. I would not.
Yeah.
I would say no. I'll take a point off before I do that.
For it triple clicks on you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, look, I'm on.
Just teleporting around in the elevator.
I would use either a switch or the debounced button.
How do you
when you-
use the switch for the clock?
The switch, so this clock has to be on the positive edge,
Mhm.
so you have to do up and down, and that makes a clock cycle. And there, the previous video is now on YouTube, so I just have to put it on.
Down and up.
What's that?
Down and up.
Yeah. So I use those.
So that's a lot of. You're going to be doing a lot of.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Oh,
U17, that's not right. It should be J11, right?
J1, I thought.
J1. J1 is the debounced. And then the switches were supposed to be 1, 2, 3, and 5, but I'm going to have to change their numbers. All my planning, all my laziness is being not work, is not right here. This one needs to be 3. At least I don't have to change the SW. This one will be 2. This one will be 1. And this one will be 0. And then we need an LED. Does anyone remember which one?
LV 11.
1, 1.
Probably only 2 inside.
And I just called that LED. Now, I set my current state to be a constraint, and so this is for debugging. So I will put it here in 0, 1, 2, and 3s. So for my debugging purposes, my LED 0, 1, 2, and 3 will show me what my current state is. Save. Okay, and then my 7 segment display. And my ANs, those all need to be uncommented. And because I use 7 segments, I make my decimal point seg7. If you only, I use 8 segments. If you only use 7, then you wouldn't do this. I think those
Yeah,
are.
you did 0 to 7.
I do 0 to 7. So your assignment only needs you to go 0 to 6, but I just don't like that decimal point. It bothers me. Okay, so now
Does it stay lit?
it does on my board. Okay, so I am now going to, this should have been end case. I also need an end case for this one. And I'm just going to put something random in each one of these just to make it not have an error for right now. For right now, I'm going to say everybody else goes to error state. And then I need to end this always block. Okay, so what we have done is let's see, what's my error? Floor 3 open is not declared. That's a shame. Because I have floor 13 open. Okay, so what do we have set so far? What would this do if it compiled and ran? No one?
Wouldn't you see like floor 1 open and then floor 2 arrive? And then whatever it's programmed right now.
Yeah, so the program would take it to, So if I was on floor 1 and I set the switches for floor 1, it would take it to the correct next state, and then after that it would just end up in an error state. Okay, but I don't have my output set, so now let's see how to do the output. Okay, so now we have another always block. And this is going to be always at next state, because we are saying what the output is going to be when we go to the next state, not what the output is right now. The output right now is whatever the output that goes with the state that we're on. And so we're going to have, it's going to be easier than this because it only depends on the state. So we're going to,
do this mealy?
no, this is still more.
I know, but is there a way to do it mealy without?
Not that I can think of, because the state needs to really be corresponding to, the output needs to be corresponding to the state you're on, because like let's say that your next state was going to be to go to floor 2, but you're still on floor 1, but the light changes to be 2 before you get to 2, and so I think it really has to be more. Okay.
Plus the door opens like while it's traveling.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so all of these are going to tell me what my next output is going to be. I'm going to have a begin and an end. And it's going to tell me my next output, and it's going to tell me my next LED. And because James had a good idea, I'm also going to change this. I'm going to have I'll have it at a different display for each floor. So I'm going to have for each floor here, I'm going to have a begin and an end, and I'll have next output, next LED, next AN, and that will be purely defined by what state I'm in. So if I'm on floor 1, my next output is going to be 1. Floor 1 arrive, my next LED is going to be 1 because my door will be open. My next AN, I'll have that be 4B, because this is active low, 1110. So I'll have floor 1 show up on the first one.
So what is the AN to your 7-segment display?
The AN is for the 7-segment display, and it tells you which, you don't have to do that. You can just leave AN the same for all of them. It says which of these 4 is it going to display to.
So there's 4 7-segment displays.
And so I'm just having it display for floor 1 will be here, floor 2 will be here, floor 3 will be here. But you don't have to do that. You can just leave it as, like I had the initial AN as just that.
Okay.
So you can leave it that if you want.
Okay.
You don't have to put that one in.
Yeah.
But since I have a begin and an end anyway, and I'm just going to be copying these for each of my states.
And it works for the transition states too? Like you have the same...
You still have to say what floor you're on, and you still have to say whether the door is open or not. So every one of these, I'm going to have...
All 3. Well, all 2.
at least 2 of these things. At least this is the way I recommend doing it. You could have a completely different way of doing it that would work, and I have done it differently in the past, but this way to me is safest because it works best. Doing it to where you set it up and then on the next clock cycle, it's going to change it.
So the question in the chat is, can't you include the seg display within this group of code with the next LED, next N, etc.? But isn't that next output your
That is the seg.
or,
Next output is the seg.
or is
This
it next? Yeah.
because so what's happening, and this is why I strongly recommend this. You could do seg right here. It's not going to work, and then you'll try to figure out what's going on, and we'll try a lot of things, and I'll say, why don't you try doing next output and then do seg in the other always block, and then we'll try it and we'll say, oh, that works. Why? I don't know. I just know that it tends to work better with these complicated projects if you set what it's going to be in your other always block, and then in your clock block, your your positive edge clock, that's when you change things. So the next output is really next seg. So I really am getting there, I promise. So floor 1, so rest, the next LED would be 0. Floor 2, these would be 2. I'm going to change this to be that for floor 2.
Yeah, I originally had like I try to do multiple lit 7-second displays by just I'll just put 2 zeros here.
You'd think you could, but it's weird that you can't do that. You'd think you could.
Yeah, I didn't like that too much. It's so you said separate the seg display from this part.
Yeah, I'm almost there.
And
So
then the
I'm,
cur-
I'm,
Okay.
yeah. So I want. Okay, so I set what the output is going to be. This is saying what the 7 segments display, that's what the 7 segments of display is going to be. This is whether the door is open or not, and this is which display it's going to be on. Now we're finally going to actually make that happen. And so now I'm going to end this. Did I have a begin and end? No, because it was just a single case statement.
So
I need
is
to
that-
end case.
Is that error your default state?
No, my error state should never happen. My error state is strictly in case I have an error.
Okay, so we don't have a default for this case?
I should have a default for this case.
This isn't, do you have to, like, I feel like
Yes.
you've always had a default for case statements, do you have to have one?
If you are not using every possibility of the
Okay.
binary numbers, yes.
You need to- Okay,
Yes. In every compiler, I don't know. For Vivado, yes.
okay.
I'm going to copy my default, my errors from my default, because I don't want the default to happen either.
So that displays an E.
Yeah. That
So is that what is the 8-bit number for your next output for your default?
I think that's an E.
Okay,
It's an
that's
E.
kind of cool.
Yeah.
Oh, I almost warned you. Man, it's just cool. I don't do anything else about it.
I want to make it happen. Oh, why you have the E?
for all your floor threes.
Exactly.
Here's where the magic happens. So right here, the current state becomes equal to the next state that we calculated. Seg becomes equal to next output.
I always have to separate those to get them to work.
What?
Two separate case statements, one for output, one for the state.
You mean two separate always blocks? I have. That doesn't surprise me. That hasn't happened to me. But I do have to separate it by not doing my output. I always have to do, yeah. You still have to do it with a clock, though, yeah.
It doesn't make any sense. I'm basically saying the same thing. It's just separating it.
Always at pause edge clock. Why do I have an error? Let's see. Clock is not declared. Clock should be declared. I did not declare a clock. All right. So everything should work for the first floor. Let's see what happens. So let's do open elaborated design. Oh, except my 2 won't look like a 2.
Yeah.
Let's see. Is this the usual clock error? It looks like I've got an extra error. Looks like I've got something in my constraints that's not right. Oh yeah, I do.
Oh, you uncommented.
I did.
777
I did.
display. I didn't know if that was
And
gonna throw an error.
let's see. Is there anything else? 7-segment display.
Hang on.
What?
So I accidentally uncommented.
Okay.
This. Okay, so let me re-comment that. Let me save it. Let's see if it generates a bit stream.
Okay. See these last
While it's bit streaming, I'm gonna go put this as a link.
floor one for my state diagram,
Mm-hmm.
and I didn't have an arrived state because I was always at floor one.
Is this gonna work on my computer? It's not. Do I have? Do I have a USB-C to micro?
Interesting combination.
I do have them at home because this computer's real finicky and it only has USB-C ports, and so it's like it really wants to have a USB-C for everything. I don't know if it's gonna like this hub. Is my backpack in here? It's a brown one. Oh no, I left it in my car. Okay, someone tell me what kind of outputs are we hoping to see on the board, if it works.
Your LED light up like when the door's open
Okay.
or not, and then whatever shows up when you're 7 seconds is fine.
Anything else?
A funny.
Maybe it's E.
Maybe.
Yeah, I want to see E.
What did I do with current state?
Oh yeah, you're gonna display the current state, so you'll have a LED of like the actual 4-digit current state.
Yeah, I had it display the current state. And for those of you who are having trouble with the debounce
Yeah.
module, so here's the debounce. So if you're holding it like this with the switches at the bottom, it is the ports on the top left, and it's the top
The top row.
top row, and then it's the bottom right button.
I find that it takes a little time for it to actually register. Or maybe I.
Which is better than registering too quickly. No! Error. Okay, let's see what the error is. Bitstream failed.
Story of my life.
Yeah, I think I have something wrong with my constraints.
Did you fix that?
I thought I did. This may be, did I not have the clock right?
Oh, you have a capital C.
I have a capital C. You know, it could have told me that 5 minutes ago.
See, I figured you knew what you were doing. Isn't it? Okay.
Were there any other errors? 2 out of 23 logical points. 2. Shouldn't be 2. Clock and reset. I didn't set a reset. So I need to have a switch be for my reset. So I need to put that in as well. So I will do let's have switch 6 be the reset? Or switch 0? Let's have switch. No, how about switch 15? I don't know. Control Z, Control Z. Oh no. There's no telling what just happened. Hopefully it was all in.
Without I hate typing in a lot.
Okay, it would have all been here in. Okay. Y'all are free to go if you want to. I would like to see if this works because I sure hate it when I put out a video and it has like an error in it. And what happens now is if there's an error in it and people don't like watch all the way through, then well,
But I copied this thing.
well, the reset would cause a problem. Yeah, the clock would cause a problem. All those things you don't know till you compile. Okay, so do y'all have any questions while it's compiling? Do you think you know what to do from here?
For the parameters, like for
Yes.
floor 1 arrive, and then you're just going through and counting up by 1 every time, right?
It doesn't make any difference how you do it. They just have to be different.
Okay.
There's a question in chat.
Yes, what's the question?
While the bitstream is loading, can you go to your next state code again as
Yes.
well as where you coded the segment displays? 1, 2,
Sure. Okay, so the next state, I only have that done for floor 1. So you'll have to figure out the code yourself for floors 2 and 3. But they should all be based on your state diagram. And the state diagram should be like what's in the other video, except for floor 3, which you have to figure out based on floor 1, unless you watch all of today's video and then you have it all in there. Okay, so here is the next state. So this is for floor 1. And then what else did he or she want?
where you coded the the segment displays.
The segment display. Okay, so the segment display, what that is the output. So the 7 segment display is the output. And so I called it seg for the actual output just so that I wouldn't have to type it in the constraints. For the interim state, like when I'm computing it, I called it next output. So I have, I'm going to go to OneNote for a second. So the 7 segment display is made up of the following things. So the 7 segment display. This is my recommendation. It's not the only way to do it. It's not even necessarily what other people recommend. It's just what I have found over the years works. And then when the program's not working, when I switch to do it this way, it works. So the 7 segment display, it should include something that is output, reg, and then either I do 7 to 0 or you could do 6 to 0, and then I called mine seg. And this is going to be what you also put in the constraints in the 7-segment display. The 8th segment, what I have as 7 is the decimal point. You also have to have output reg 3 to 0. Oh, actually, I usually do this as 0 to 7. Yeah, I usually do that 0 to 7 or 0 to 6. This one would be 3 to 0 AN. And if you wanted to keep that the same throughout the entire code, you don't have to change that one. I have it in my initialization block as setting it to AN is 4B110. And if you want to do that, you can. You don't ever have to change it if you don't want to. I changed mine just so that it goes to different places. But then you're also going to have output reg LED, and that's what says whether the door is open or not. So those things, you set all of those things in the last always block. And then in the second always block, that's where you have next output or something like that. And that's just going to be reg 70 or 60. And reg 30 or 07. Reg 30 next AN if you decide you want to do that. And reg next LED. You don't have to have these dual variables. I'm just recommending it because it just seems to work better. And so you compute these in one always block. So we have the first always block, which starts right here, always at current state switch. That always block is for figuring out the next state. Then we have the next always block, which is always at, oh, this is a mistake. That should be next state. So this is even though the bit stream worked, it's not going to give the correct output. So this should be always at next state, and it should be case next state, because it's based on what the next state is going to be. This figures out what the 7-segment display is going to be. So if you're on floor 1, it's going to make it equal to 1. What is this 1? This 1, I set it up as a parameter to be the 7-segment that goes with the number 1. 2 is the 7-segment that goes with 2, and 3 is the 7-segment that goes with 3. So that's you don't have to have a parameter. If you wanted to have next output here as 7 or 8, mine's 8. 8B 1 0 0 1 1 1 1. That's fine. I just called it 1. Next LED is going to be 1 if you want the light to be on, 0 if you want it to be off. Next AN if you choose to use it. You have a 0 in the spot where you want that number to show up. There's 4 different 7-segments displays, and it's going to show up on one of those. So that's your second always block. Your third always block operates just on the clock edge, and your third always block is what advances things. It says, all right, we're going to go to the next state, and we're going to make seg equal to what the output's going to be, and we're going to make an equal to what did I forget? What did I forget? I forgot something. Something's not going to work. In addition to not having the right outputs, if I try to program this, there's something that is definitely not going to work. So let me go ahead and program it.
Out of that always block?
Come on, find the target. You can do it. I know you can do it. It's right here. It's right here. It's right here. No hardware target open.
No.
It needs, it can't, I need the adapter for the USB-C.
I definitely don't have that.
So no one knows? No one knows what I'm missing?
Yeah, you don't have
You have to stay. You have
LED.
to.
I don't have the LED.
Yeah.
Oh.
Don't have the LED. So I need to have,
You said you don't have it.
I need to have LED becomes equal to next LED. And unfortunately, I am not going to be able to put it on the board on this computer because I don't have the right cable. Unless anyone happens to have a USB-C to USB-A adapter. Anybody have USB-C to USB-A adapter?
No.
Okay. All right. Well, I will test it at home and make sure that it works.
When can we come to test ours? What time?
Excellent question. So,
Yeah,
I
need to
will.
go finish up some stuff.
I will be around.
Like, would this time Friday work for you?
Probably. Yeah, about this time Friday, I have to be home by 7. And I'm planning to be here late on Monday. Probably also some on Sunday. And I'll be around tomorrow and Friday in and out of my office. I'll try to post when I'll be here
Yeah,
so
just send
people
us
can
an
come.
email, And
Yeah.
we can make a time work.
Okay, and for whoever was on Zoom, did I answer your questions?
You had one more. I didn't read it though.
Once you're done with this part, you go about, let's see, do you have office hours tomorrow? Yes. Yeah, and I'll post that. I'll send out the office hours. Yes. Okay, so yes. Okay, good. All right. Okay, great. And I will post office hours and let y'all know when I'll be around. So thanks for coming and thanks for sticking around.